Hey guys, so I wanted to take a minute and reflect back on my trip because, other than the fact that it was incredible, I mean, you all saw it. Amazing. There was a lot of things about it that I have to look back on. I had been waiting like my entire life to go see it, and my God, was it worth it. Um, it was absolutely beautiful up there. Like everything. All the art, all the hieroglyphs, all the monuments. Oh my God, Giza. Uh, I'll get into that later. Anyway, I thought about doing this live, but if I did it live, I wouldn't be able to do like pictures on the screen, or it would probably end up being like something really freaking long. So I thought maybe I would just release this in chunks. It's probably better that way. You know, that way I don't have a bunch of people that are getting mad at me because I've got like 3 hours of a video that, doing a review on Egypt, right? Guava. It doesn't quite taste the same. It's been in the box. But man, French squeezed guava juice. Oh, there was nothing like it in the world. And hibiscus. Hibiscus juice. Nah. Anyway, I'm going to start off with what I was saying on the inside of the airport. So, to put things in perspective here, let's talk about 2020. Everybody says 2020 was horrible. And let's face it, it kind of was. But honestly, it wasn't. I think I got more done during that 3 months of quarantine than I ever have. Seriously, I was completely productive. From things I was doing around the house to like certifications upon certifications upon certifications. I was nailing down everything. And, right beforehand was when I started the whole paradox thing, which was kind of interesting, to think that maybe that time was given to me to kind of test ground and see what it was like. But it wasn't really that bad. I actually really liked 2020 because it was like a godsend. That 3 months that I had to get everything started, to get everything like composed, and it was good. Just until I went back to work. And yeah, we all feel this, right? I had some guy that threatened my life, for God's sake. Yeah, whatever, I still work at Lego. Anyway, so I was still in quarantine when my birthday hit, and my daughter made this absolutely fantastic cake. Wow, she's getting good. She's gotten much better about this now. I, practice makes perfect, right? And on my birthday, I had started like doing the whole, tarot certification thing, and getting through all of these and going through all the Egyptian ones, so like the Egyptian shaman certification and so on. Um, I've had a lot of things in my life that have kind of faded back and forth. Computer programming, you know, yeah, mainly computer programming. Once you do it, it's like riding a bike. You kind of go back to it, and it's easy. But Egypt, man, it's never faded. Never. I've always been obsessed with Egyptian mythology and hieroglyphs and things that were written on walls. And yeah, hey, look, we're on Facebook. Um, so on my birthday, my sister asked me if I had a passport, and when it comes to Danica, no matter what. I mean, Beerfest is a good example. Hey, I've got an extra ticket. Do you want to come? If Danica says jump, you say how high. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, no, but I can get it. For months, like 2 or 3 months, I was totally confused on this whole thing. I was like, what in the world is going on? Why do I need this passport? But, you know what? I freaking got it. And honestly, that's pretty much all I needed, right? I've got a stamp for Egypt now, too. A couple months later, she finally said, you know, we're not going to Beerfest this year, so I thought maybe we should go to Egypt. Lance's internal screaming like a cheerleader commenced. I very nearly had a heart attack when I heard her say that. I was like, what is she doing? Is she like taking me to Germany to go have like real beer? Is she like, I don't know. But it was Egypt. I couldn't believe that I heard her say it was Egypt. And for the next few months, that's all I did. I was preparing for this trip. You know, tarot cards to take with me, masks, hats, new clothes, new shoes. Yeah. All of it was just based on the trip, and it was huge. Everything I did for those couple of months, everything I went through, I don't care. I'm going to Egypt in a couple months. This guy just threatened me, whatever. I'm going to Egypt in a couple months. I went looking back on everything I knew and everything I did. I refreshed all of my memories. I made sure I knew what I was talking about. I mean, obviously, I know what I'm talking about. There's never a doubt. I've been studying this crap since I was like a kid. When I was probably about 19, I was sitting inside of like my classroom and I was reading a book on how to read hieroglyphs. Like my teacher, Heicham Kraybacher, he was like, wow, I've heard of different languages, but that takes it a little bit further. Like I said, it's been an obsession. So, some things change your life. You get to the airport, you sit in front of that door and you wait for that plane to come, and you're thinking, I can't believe I'm actually going. The minute that door opens, my entire life is going to change. And it did. My entire life changed a long time ago, though. Let's face it, Lego has been really good for me. I can't even begin to tell you what Lego has done for me. My self-confidence is better. Me as a person is better. I've learned a lot of things I should have known a long time ago before I got the job. But, you know, you live, you learn, right? I also learned that a lot of things aren't fair. And that's okay. Sometimes they don't have to be. Sometimes life will just put you somewhere when you're ready for it. this was a hit. So, whatever powers may be, decided that I was finally ready to actually take the dive. And my sister took me to Egypt. The plane ride there was a nightmare. My God, why would anybody ever take a 14-hour plane ride? God. It wasn't so bad. I guess it was only a nightmare because the first plane had, broke. So I ended up running all the way to the other end of the terminal to try to catch the other one. And after that, we were late. So when I got to Texas to get onto my next flight, keep in mind, mask on, running as fast as I can. I got there, and the person at the gate was like, "Sir, sir, sir, I'm sorry." And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, right? Person at the gate was like, "So, do you have a shortness of breath, sir?" And I looked at the guy with this odd look, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm wearing a mask, and I just ran across the terminal, so what do you think I have?" And he looks at me and goes, "Oh, right." "Well, can I see your paper?" And I was like, "Can you, give me a second?" Oh my God. And he's like, "I'm sorry, oh my God." So, I take out the freaking COVID test. Like, here. Oh, right. I finally get on the plane. I'm finally sitting down. I finally get my breath back as I'm sitting on the plane, messing with the little screen, trying to figure out what I can do with it. And I binge watch What We Can Do in the Shadows. Great series. I liked it a lot. So, if you get a chance to watch What We Do in the Shadows, because it's pretty good. I had this little kid behind me that kept kicking my freaking seat. It was the most annoying thing. However, the way that they made this, so as long as it wasn't like, a family of people, you had space between two people. So it was like me and then this other person. But there was a seat between us that was empty. And it wasn't so bad. Yeah, right. So I get, through the freaking 14-hour flight. It was rough. I didn't remember that at all from when I was a kid. It was a rough flight. I get Frankfurt. And, my God, it was a big freaking airport. I get off of the plane, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got an hour to get to my flight because, we were already late, right? So, get off the plane, and I book it to my next one, not thinking how far it's going to be to get to it. I had to run down an aisle, get on an escalator, run across the escalator, go through another aisle, go through some customs, jump onto some freaking train, go across the train, get off of the train, go through more customs, get out of those customs, get my pass, go through another checkout of customs, and then I got to where I was going. I had about 15 minutes till the flight came in by the time I got there. 15 freaking minutes. And I was so lucky. So, Frankfurt, it was 4-hour trip, I think. But the way that the time went was weird. I can't really explain how it was. Because it was only 4 hours and it was still daylight in Frankfurt when I got there. It was morning. I think. Maybe not. Maybe it was morning in America. Anyway. So we get to Frankfurt, and then we leave Frankfurt. And as I'm leaving Frankfurt, the sun starts to set. And I'm watching the sun set across Cairo. We actually got there at about the time that the sun set, and I started like looking around for pyramids, and I couldn't find any. And I was like, why can't I see Giza from up here? It's because Giza is actually quite a way away from Cairo. The airport's nowhere near where the pyramids are. And I was like looking back and forth trying to find it, but nothing. Um, I did, however, meet this cool guy on the plane who was there with his family. He was actually going to go see his family in Egypt, and he lives down in like Florida or something. For some reason, they went from Florida to Texas and out, or something or other. It was something about the flight. I was asking him, like, do you know any places that are worth seeing? He goes, well, obviously, like, all the sites and all the destinations. He's like, but I want you to make sure that you try these things. And it was koshery. Koshery was like a world famous thing that Egypt makes. This one guy in Egypt actually makes this stuff, and he made a giant thing of this koshery and got a Guinness Book of World Records on it. It was super cool. I saw it on a little plaque on the wall, and I was like, that's pretty awesome. Falafel, obviously. Oh my god, everybody likes falafel, right? No. No, no, no. You've not had falafel until you had it in Egypt. My god. There were so many different ways that they make falafel. I had, what, 3 of them? And all 3 of them were different. One of them was like a wrap. One of them was like a taco-ish looking thing. Yeah, it was interesting. But, oh, they were all so good. And shawarma. Shawarma. Greatest freaking crap ever. Holy shit. I love shawarma. So good. Man, beef shawarma. Yeah. Good shit. Anyway, so I did in fact try all the things he told me to try, including pigeon. I'll get into that later. So I get off the plane, and I'm thinking this is going to be cake from here, right? No, no, it was not. This dude in Egypt, I took my papers out to show him my COVID test, and you couldn't find the dates. And I was like, are you serious? Oh my god, man. So I had to point it out to him where the date was, and then point out, this is it. And he looked at the date, and he looked at his phone, and his phone was in Arabic. So I couldn't read this. And I was like, dude, I pulled my phone out, and I showed him the date on my phone, and then showed him the date on the thing. And he goes, oh. And I was like, seriously? Oh my god. Finally, lets me past. And I get out, and I start walking. And as I'm walking to the terminal, I finally meet, the manager of the tour group. Which, by the way, if you're going to be going to Egypt, look up Memphis Tours. My god, those people are awesome. Highly recommend them. They're all way cool. So cool. So, we'll get into that more through the whole spiel of things I'm going to be talking about. So, I meet the manager there. Meet up with this guy. And great guy. Got there, took a selfie, obviously, taking pictures and videos of the whole thing already, from Denver to Egypt. Yeah. Got a selfie, started talking to him. And as we're talking, I was freaking out a little, looking at, like, everything in the airport, knowing I was there, being half asleep, because technically it was, like, probably about 3 o'clock in the morning in America. And, I made it. So, he got everything together, and I just kept looking and seeing everything as he, like, went and did all of his stuff. Still kind of in complete awe that I was like standing in Egypt for the first time in my life. We walk outside, he's still talking. We have a lot to talk about, obviously, because I've never been to Egypt before. And when we got in the car, Lance's half asleep brain finally started to, like, wake up a little more and function a little more. So he was talking about, Cairo was the city of the sun, and went off on a couple of tangents, and immediately Lance started, city of the sun. City of Ra? It would be Ra, right? And he kind of gave me an odd look. We kept talking. And eventually he said something else. My mind clicked back. Said something else. And he realized, I think he realized the reason that Danica and John were here was me. Because he looked at me and went, "Wow, been reading a lot of books, haven't you?" Yeah. You have no idea how deep this obsession goes. No idea. So, we get to the hotel. And the first thing I see, I think, is a giant mural of Nefertiti with Hathor. How do you know it's Hathor? She's got horns on her head. It was wonderful. I went into the hotel and it was gorgeous. I very nearly had a heart attack. And of course, sitting there waiting for me was Danica and John. Danica walks up to me. She says, "Welcome to Egypt." And gives me the papyrus and says, "This is your welcome to Egypt present. I know you got a thing for the weighing of the souls, so, I opened it and unfolded it, and it was already hard enough for me not to be crying that I was there. But that papyrus was gorgeous. My God, it was so cool. I don't have it. It's currently sitting at Michael's because they're framing it. I decided I wasn't just going to get like a cheap frame for this because this is a masterpiece of freaking papyrus, and I got full mat everything. Cardboard is aesthetic and would eventually wear the papyrus down. I went all out. I did, I went all out. So, tour manager goes back, gets me checked in. I'm talking to Danica and John, kind of freaking out a little. They get me to my room. I tip the guy. I had a little problem with the whole tipping thing at first, because, I gave the people like $1. But like, $1 is like 15 pounds. So like, oops. I mean, it's an American dollar, like, yeah. But apparently that's way overboard with tipping. And I found that out later. We go downstairs, I go down and I, like, get out of clothes, take a shower. My God. I felt disgusting after I got off of all of those planes. Took a shower, went downstairs, had dinner with them, and John pointed out that the Nile was next to us. I didn't see it at first because it was dark and, you know, Lance had no idea where the hell he was in Egypt. He just knew that he was in, a hotel. And the next morning, I woke up and there it was. It was kind of foggy, you saw. Um, but it was incredible. I was right next to the Nile.